Welcome back to Son of a Glitch, and we're playing new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which came out in 2019. Not so new anymore. Whilst it's not the most broken of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, it's certainly got some interesting quirks and bugs in the system. Now, we're mostly dealing with the Nintendo Switch's Deluxe version of the game, but we'll also be checking out some of the glitches in the original Wii U version. First off, a glitch within the menus of the game. When going into the Challenges mode, sometimes navigating the menu using the touchscreen can softlock the game. Going quickly from one screen to another and then using the scroll bar on the right side will somehow make the scroll bar get stuck at the bottom, so it's grayed out and unusable. None of the other buttons to switch screen or even select a challenge work, and you are now essentially softlocked on the screen. The only thing you can do now is shut down the game and start up again. Not exactly the best start to the experience. I've got no idea why this would occur, but it's a very inconvenient glitch to say the least. When you first reach Soda Jungle, Bowser's airship takes Mario aboard, and it's here where we can make something unusual happen. With 2 players, each lose a life, so you're kicked back into the world map. Now re-enter the Mighty Cannon ship, and as you do, disconnect player 2's controller. A menu will pop up asking you if you want to return to the title screen and select OK. You'll now see that the title screen is replaced by the Mighty Cannon ship level, but the title screen music will still be playing, and as the camera scrolls to the right, things get more and more broken. Tiles aren't in the correct places, and numerous elements are missing, and then suddenly, Luigi, Toad, and Toadette arrive in bubbles, and all too quickly, this glitched title screen ends to go to the attract mode cutscene, where afterwards things return to normal. This glitch is most likely possible to perform in other parts of the game, but it sure is weird. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe introduces Toadette as a playable character and brings with her the Super Crown. With 2 players, have powered up Toadette hit the power-up block to produce a Super Crown, and then have the other player pick Toadette up. Now here's the tricky part. Stand just off to the side of the crown and then jump up, and if you can throw Toadette at roughly the same time as she touches the crown, she'll now transform and get stuck spinning in the air. Because the transformation never finishes, everything in the game, apart from the music, is frozen and you're once again softlocked. But Toadette looks like she's having a great time. Okay, we'll come back and check on you later. This episode is sponsored by you. A huge thank you to all the Patreon supporters on screen, and if you want to join them here, there's a link in the description. See you there. The Super Crown isn't the only power-up in the game that's a little broken. The Tiny Mushroom also has a glitchy quirk of its own. With the Tiny Mushroom, you're able to run up and down walls, which is pretty neat actually. However, if you run down a wall holding left or right depending on which direction you were going, just as you're about to touch the ground, switch to holding the opposite direction, and you'll see that the animation gets incorrectly rotated. Have you ever tried running up a wall using your head? I would guess at least one of these things would be impossible. I'll leave you to decide which. This doesn't have any application outside of looking odd, but still an interesting glitch. At various points in the game, you'll be tasked with having to catch Nabbit, a new character to the series who's got sticky fingers when it comes to possessions. You have to chase down Nabbit, and once you grab them, you'll be given a reward. However, if you manage to grab Nabbit and then die by dropping into a pit, the game doesn't actually recognize that you've caught Nabbit, and instead losing a life is your reward. I feel an injustice here. Nabbit didn't get away, gravity just did what gravity does best and took us both. In the 5th level of Acorn Plains, you're able to move the checkpoint for some reason. Using the Ice Flower, freeze a Koopa Trooper, pick them up, and then take the ice block to the checkpoint. When the moving platform that the checkpoint sits on reaches high enough for you and the ice block to get under it, you can jump or simply let the checkpoint touch the ice block, and now you'll see it's portable. You're able to carry it all the way to the flagpole at the end of the level, but if the ice block is smashed, the checkpoint will hit the ground again, and that's where it lives now. This doesn't actually affect where you restart the level, so for instance, you couldn't place the checkpoint at the flagpole, die, and then restart next to it. Trying this in other levels where the checkpoint is in a similar position doesn't net you the same results, so it seems to be only this checkpoint in the first level, so it's for sure a glitch. In the level Light Blocks Dark Tower, you'll find these upside down P-switches that activate the light blocks. Stand underneath the switch, activate it, and then hold down to crouch and jump, and at the peak of the jump, hold down to ground pound. If you're positioned correctly and time it right, you'll now stay glued to the ceiling for as long as you hold down. And when the switch turns off, the glitch will end and you'll drop down to the ground again. Even mistiming this, you'll see there's something a bit janky with the way you interact with these switches. Not game-breaking, but definitely amusing. The penguin suit in the new Super Luigi part of the game can create some glitchy situations, such as this small glitch in the level Fire and Ice. Freezing this fire bro on the left side of the screen, stand on top of the ice block, crouch, and then jump. A power-up block appears, and then you're stuck between the block and the ice. Luckily, the ice eventually breaks and then you're free, but if that wasn't a thing the ice blocks do, you'd be stuck here indefinitely. Another glitchy thing that Luigi in the penguin suit can do takes place in the Sparkling Waters Castle level Shish Kebab Tower, where right at the beginning there's a moving platform. Jump on the platform, head to the left, and then time a slide to the right, and if done correctly, Luigi will now clip into the wall. This again isn't anything major, and all you're able to do is jump upwards until Luigi appears out of the ground. Oh, peekaboo, I see you. In Sparkling Waters Waterspout Beach, you'll find this cheap by green pipe. If you freeze it with an ice flower close to the pipe, stand on top of it and crouch on the upper right corner, for some reason, the water splash effect will go into overdrive, accompanied by the frantic sound of touching the ground repeatedly. I know this is childish, but it legitimately looks like Luigi is farting into the water, and the sound only supports that visual. Oh, looks like Luigi farted himself into oblivion. Okay, time to grow up now and become a parental figure to some baby Yoshis. You can find these throughout the world map, and once you interact with them, they can be taken into levels. Head to Frosted Glacier's ghost house with baby Yoshi, and make your way to this room with the pole in the middle. Without hesitation, throw baby Yoshi from this platform into the abyss below. Would be cruel if that was it, right? And we just moved on. Don't worry, this is only a little bit messed up, as when the level rises again, you'll see baby Yoshi didn't fall to their demise at all.
What are you doing?
Me? Just hanging around.
Sadly, you won't be able to retrieve baby Yoshi, but you will be able to give them some company if you have 2 or more players, so that's something, I guess. As with any Mario game, there are a plethora of boss encounters, one fight being against Iggy in the Soda Jungle's castle. When you fight Iggy in New Super Luigi U, because of the extra height you get from Luigi's jump, it's possible to hit Iggy whilst he's upside down on the ceiling from a wall jump. This isn't intended, and if you slow down the gameplay, you'll see for a brief moment, Iggy has 2 shells, the one on his back and the other just below, which spins during that phase of the boss. This is a very blink and you'll miss it kind of bug, and definitely not something that is supposed to happen. Another boss glitch takes place in the original Wii U release of New Super Mario Bros. U, which featured a special boost mode where using the gamepad, you could place colored platforms into the level. When you reach the Meringue Cloud's castle and fight Kamek, place a few platforms around the middle of the arena, and when Kamek swoops in, if you manage to destroy a platform as Kamek touches it, it'll take him out in one hit. This inadvertently causes a situation where the boss has been defeated before the 3 hits required, and now you have to wait out the timer and lose a life to start the level all over again. Kamek isn't the only boss to have a game-breaking bug in their encounter. Wendy has a similar kind of glitch where she'll endlessly rotate on a slope and she won't take damage, and the only thing you can do now is wait out the timer again. That reminds me, maybe we should check on Toadette. Yeah, she's still going. Now, this is the only footage that exists of this glitch, which happened on the Wii U version. I tried to recreate this with a few theories, like what happens if I jump on Wendy while she's on the slope? Or what if I use boost mode to repeatedly tap her to delay her animations? Maybe that would trigger the glitch. Sometimes you have to play detective, but sadly, none of these theories came to any fruition, so this remains a very rare glitch. If you've ever had it happen to you, I'd love to know. I'd also love to know if anybody's ever had this happen to them. In this clip, a metal crate has become stuck on the ledge, which then creates a blockage for the other crates that follow. Again, trying to recreate this, I tried to get this to happen, but to no avail. If this has happened to you during your playthrough, I would love to hear some details. In Candy Rock Mine's shifting floor cave, typically you'd need to enter the pipe and make your way through the level as intended. However, if you enter the level with a P-wing, you'll find that you can fly up and over this wall, creating a super easy and fast shortcut to the flagpole, which I'm fairly sure isn't an intended way for you to complete the stage. It certainly feels like a glitch, but it's also a pretty common level design secret in previous Mario games, so I'll leave it up to you to decide. Something that is not a glitch though, and more of an exploit of the game's mechanics, is the classic infinite one-up trick. By placing Baby Yoshi in a 1x1 block space like this, and then throwing a Koopa shell in for good measure, you can then jump on the shell as much as you'd like to rack up lives. There is still a degree of skill in this to not get hurt and die, which would be deeply ironic. Often touted as a glitch, this again is an exploit of the point system in the game, concentrated into a small space to constantly gain one-ups, and something that has always been in these games. There are even other ways of doing it, like in the level Jungle of Giants, by keeping this Koopa shell on these blocks, then jumping on top and keeping as far left as possible to keep the shell in place. Once again, it's lives for days, and even though you can only carry 99, you can perform this as many times as needed to keep them topped up. The timer is an old staple in Mario games since the beginning of the franchise, but even so, there are still a couple of bugs with it that really shouldn't be a thing anymore. If you go down a pipe on the same frame as the timer turns to 000, Mario won't actually die. Instead, the level can still be played as normal. The music will continue to play in its sped up form, and the timer stays at 000 until you reach the flagpole or exit the stage. The timing on this glitch is incredibly tough though, and honestly isn't worth the time it takes to pull off. Similarly, in New Super Luigi U, if you enter a boss door frame perfectly with 000 on the timer, when you reach the other side of the door, the music that would usually play here is silent, with only the sound effects behaving as usual. Not a huge glitch, but strange that this only happens in Super Luigi U. And with that, our timer has also reached 000. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.